All right, everyone, welcome back to the deep dive. Ready to go deep on something that's been making a lot of noise in the AI world lately?
Definitely. Let's dive in.
Okay, so we're talking artificial general intelligence,
Yeah.
AGI.
Yeah, the big one. Has it arrived already? That's the question we're grappling with today.
Exactly. And we've got some pretty intriguing sources to dig into, like this article about Vahid Kazemi. He's an employee at OpenAI, the folks behind ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Didn't he say something pretty bold?
Yeah, his claim was, and I quote, "In my opinion, we have already achieved AGI." Now, coming from someone at OpenAI, that's not something you can just brush off.
No, not at all. OpenAI is right at the forefront of all this. So what makes him think AGI is already here?
Well, he's looking at it from this angle of better than most humans at most tasks.
Interesting. So not necessarily surpassing human abilities in every single area, but more like,
Right, more like being really good at a whole bunch of things, kind of like a multi-talented person, even if they're not the absolute best in any one field.
I see. That's definitely a different way of thinking about AGI than the traditional definition.
Yeah. But, as you can imagine, there's pushback. Some people are saying that these large language models, like the ones powering ChatGPT, are just following a recipe.
Right. Mimicking patterns from massive amounts of data without actually understanding what they're doing.
Exactly. But Kazemi has a pretty interesting counter-argument to that. He says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that even the scientific method observe, hypothesize, verify can be seen as a kind of recipe.
That's thought-provoking. So, is he saying that if we hold up the scientific method as a gold standard for human intelligence, then maybe AI shouldn't be held to a different standard?
Yeah, that seems to be his point. It's like he's challenging us to think about what we really mean by intelligence and understanding.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. It's getting into some deep philosophical waters here.
It really is. But before we go too far down that rabbit hole, I think it's worth mentioning something a little strange about OpenAI
What's
itself.
that?
They actually removed the term AGI from their agreements with Microsoft.
Really? Now that is odd. Why would they do that?
Yeah, it makes you wonder, are they trying to distance themselves from this whole AGI debate? Or maybe they think the term has become too loaded with hype and expectations.
Could be. It's almost like they're saying, hey, we're building some amazing AI, but let's not get bogged down in semantics.
Right, let's focus on what these systems can actually do.
Speaking of which, remember when Deep Blue beat Gary Kasparov at chess back in the
Oh
90s?
yeah, that felt like a huge moment. But AI has come so far since then.
Absolutely. Games like chess are actually a great example of what we mean by general
How
intelligence.
so?
Well, to win at that level, you need things like strategy, planning, the ability to anticipate your opponent's moves, adapt to changing situations.
Oh, I see. It's not just about brute force calculation. It's about higher level thinking that we used to consider unique to humans.
Exactly. And we're now seeing AI systems doing that in all sorts of complex domains.
Okay, so even if Kazemi's claim about AGI is debatable, it's clear that AI is evolving incredibly fast.
No doubt about it. We've got some experts like Ben Goertzel predicting true AGI within the next few years, maybe even as soon as 3 years.
Wow. While others, like Jan LeCun, say we're still a long way off, regardless of the exact timeline, this is definitely something we need to be paying attention to.
For sure. And let's bring this back to our listeners for a minute, because whether AGI is already here or just around the corner, it's going to have a huge impact. So think about it. What does it mean for you if AGI is already a reality?
That's a great question. How would this impact your work, your daily life, the choices you make? We're going to be exploring those questions in more depth throughout this deep dive. But first, let's take a closer look at some of the specific examples Kazemi uses to support his argument.
Sounds good. Let's see what these advanced AI systems are capable of and whether they really do show signs of general
And
intelligence.
we'll also talk about what those signs might look like in different fields. Stay tuned.
So, where do we even start? I mean, there's so much going on in the AI world right now. It's hard to keep track of it all.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I think a good place to start might be with the AI that everyone's talking about these days, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's practically a household name now.
ChatGPT, right. It can hold conversations, write different kinds of stuff, answer your questions. It's pretty mind-blowing, to be honest.
I know. I played around with it myself, and it's definitely impressive. But is it really an example of AGI? I mean, it's just a language model, right?
Well, yeah, technically it's designed for processing and generating text. But the scope of what it can do with language is pretty amazing. I mean, it's constantly expanding its abilities.
I guess it's easy to forget how powerful language really is. It's how we communicate, learn, express ourselves. So if AI can truly master language,
That's exactly Kazemi's point. He sees this mastery of language as a big step towards AGI. Like, understanding language is crucial for reasoning, problem solving,
Yeah.
all those hallmarks of general intelligence.
So, by understanding and manipulating language at a high level, AI is tapping into some of the same cognitive processes we use.
Yeah, it's almost like it's learning to think more like us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not just language, right? AI is making progress in other areas that were once thought to be exclusive to humans.
Absolutely. Remember that whole Deep Blue beating Gary Kasparov at chess thing?
Yeah. That was a big deal back then.
But AI has evolved so much since then. Think about games like Go.
Oh yeah, Go. Much more complex.
Way more complex. It requires a different level of strategy, intuition, and those games really showcase what we mean by general intelligence. To win, you got to strategize, plan ahead, anticipate your opponent's moves, adapt to new situations.
So it's not just about being good at one specific thing. It's about being able to apply those cognitive abilities in lots of different contexts.
Exactly. But, okay, some people might say, well, sure, AI is good at games, but that's still a pretty niche area. It's not composing symphonies or writing novels.
Right.
Well, that line might be blurring faster than we realize. I mean, we're already seeing AI compose music, generate ideas for stories, and even collaborate with human authors.
So are the boundaries between human creativity and AI creativity starting to disappear?
I think so, yeah. Which raises some interesting questions. I mean, if AI can create something that moves us, that we find beautiful, does it really matter if a human was directly involved in every step?
That's a pretty deep question, a debate that could go on forever.
Totally. But from a more practical point of view, it's clear that AI is becoming more capable in areas we thought were unique to humans. So even if we're not quite ready to say that AGI is here,
It feels like we're getting pretty close.
yeah, I think so. But you did mention earlier that there are still some challenges to overcome before we truly get there.
Right. So what are some of the biggest hurdles?
Well, one of the major ones is what we call common sense reasoning.
Common sense. Like, what do you mean?
Like humans can understand and navigate the world with this kind of intuition, this background knowledge that AI systems still struggle with. It's hard to program that in.
Right. It's like we just know that if you drop an egg, it's going to break. But an AI might not get that unless it's been specifically trained on examples of egg breaking.
Exactly. Even then, it might not be able to apply that to other similar situations. It might not understand that dropping a glass or like a watermelon would have similar results.
It lacks that flexible understanding of how the world works.
Yeah. We take it for granted, but it's really hard to replicate that in AI. And that's just one challenge. We also have to think about things like emotional intelligence, consciousness.
Whoa, we're getting deep here.
I know, right? And even defining what intelligence actually means. These are really complex issues that researchers are still working on.
Wow. Okay, so we talked about the challenges, but now let's bring this back to our listeners and talk about the potential impact of AGI. Because, look, whether it's here now or it's coming soon, it's going to affect us all.
No question about it. The impact of AGI on society is something we need to think about carefully. And honestly, there are a lot of different viewpoints out there. Some people are super excited, others are really worried.
It's like, on the one hand, we have the potential for incredible advancements, right? Maybe AI can help us cure diseases, solve climate change, things like that.
Exactly. But on the other hand, people are concerned about job losses, economic inequality, or even AI becoming uncontrollable. It's a lot to consider.
It is, and we have to explore both sides of the conversation. It's important.
Absolutely.
So we have this potential for incredible good, but also these anxieties about potential downsides. It's a tough balance.
It really is. We're talking about a technology that could fundamentally change the world, for better or for worse.
It's almost like we're on the edge of a new frontier. So many possibilities, but also so many unknowns.
Yeah. And it's up to us to figure out how to navigate it all, how to make sure AI serves humanity.
Right. And that brings us to the question of, what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Right. How might AGI impact your life, your work, your future?
We're going to explore those questions in the final part of our deep dive. Stick with us. All right, so we've talked about what AGI is, what Kazemi's argument is, and we've touched on some of the potential upsides and downsides, but let's get real here.
Let's get down to it.
What does all of this mean for you?
For our listeners, right.
Exactly. How could AGI affect your everyday life?
I think one of the biggest things people are worried about is jobs.
Jobs, yeah.
If AI can do so many different tasks, will it take over our jobs?
Yeah, it's that classic robots are coming for us thing you see in the movies.
Exactly. Is that a real concern or is that just Hollywood?
What do you think?
It's complicated. I think some jobs are definitely at risk, especially ones with a lot of repetition, but AI could also lead to new
But
jobs.
interesting. So not necessarily jobs disappearing, but more like,
Transforming,
yeah,
evolving.
okay,
Think about the internet when it first came around.
okay.
Nobody could have predicted all the new jobs it created.
Oh, that's true, like e-commerce and,
Social media, all these digital marketing
yeah,
things. AI could have a similar impact.
okay. So maybe new industries we haven't even thought of yet.
Exactly.
But even if new jobs do appear, what about the people whose skills become, I don't know,
Obsolete?
yeah, obsolete? How do they adapt?
I think that's where education and training are key.
Oh, right, okay.
We need to invest in programs that help people build the skills they'll need in a world with AI.
So it's not just about everyone becoming a coder or something.
No, no, not at all. It's about developing more adaptable skills, skills that you can use in different fields.
Oh, okay. So like what? Give me some examples.
Things like critical thinking, problem solving,
Okay, yeah.
creativity, communication.
Those are all super valuable.
Yeah, these are the skills that will always be important no matter how much AI changes things.
Okay, so beyond the whole job market thing, what are some other ways AGI could affect us?
Scientific research is a big one.
Yeah.
Imagine AI that can analyze huge amounts of data, see patterns, make hypotheses way faster than humans ever could.
Yeah, okay. So that could completely change field like medicine or climate science.
Absolutely. Even space exploration, we could see breakthroughs happening at a speed we can't even imagine right now.
That's exciting.
It is. AI could help us find solutions to some of the world's biggest problems.
Yeah, but we can't just ignore the risks.
Of course not.
We talked about this a little already, but what are some of the most serious concerns with AGI?
One of the biggest is the potential for misuse.
Misuse. Okay.
Like imagine autonomous weapon systems, that can make life or death decisions without a human involved.
That's a little scary.
Or deep fakes that are so good they erode trust and create chaos.
Yeah, those are some serious issues.
They are. It's a reminder that technology is just a tool.
A tool, right.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
So how do we make sure it's used for the right reasons?
That's on us, the humans who create and use these tools.
Okay, so what can we do? I mean, what can we do as individuals to be prepared for this future? How do we ensure that AI is used ethically?
Well, first of all, I think staying informed is huge. Learn about AI, understand what it can do, what it can't do, be part of conversations about its impact.
Yeah, be an active participant in this whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Don't just sit back and let it happen.
Exactly. The future of AI is not set in stone. It's being shaped right now by the choices we make individually, as a society, globally.
So the more we know, the better choices we can make.
Well, absolutely.
All right, well, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. We've covered a lot today, maybe even enough for several podcasts, but hopefully we've given you some things to think about.
Some new perspectives.
Yeah, and if you're curious to learn more, keep exploring.
There are so many resources out there, articles, documentaries. Talk to your friends and family about this.
The more we all learn about AI, the better prepared we'll be to navigate this future that's unfolding. Well said. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning. We'll see you next time.